Hey everyone, my name is Scott Reintgen, and I am the author of The Last Dragon on Mars. So this is just such an exciting book for me to introduce to you and to the world. It is something that's really the result of school visits. I go around the country, I speak to students, and one of the common questions during the Q&A is almost always, what's your favorite genre to read? What do you like to read? And kind of jokingly, I would always say, hey, if a dragon or a spaceship shows up, I'm going to have a good time. And I think I said that enough times that I was like, oh, wait a minute. What if I do dragons and spaceships? What if I have both of them in the same story? And The Last Dragon on Mars was born from that. So the story imagines our solar system, like the one that you probably memorized in elementary school, right? Every planet and all the moons and all that. But what if every one of those planets and every one of those moons, what if our star had a dragon that lived there? And how would that change our species? How would it change our exploration of space? Do all the dragons like us? Do some of the dragons not like us? How does that go? And my story specifically takes place on Mars, which was supposed to be this second Earth. It was supposed to be this great new planet, but things just didn't work out. They didn't go as planned. And Lunar Jones, my main character, he grows up on this sort of not great version of Mars. He's not having a good time. He kind of is scraping by. He kind of takes care of all the other kids that live in his relocation clinic. And one of the things he does to take care of those kids is Lunar will go out into the storms after a storm comes and try to find treasure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of read some of those sections to you. I'm going to read the prologue real quick, and then I'm going to read the kind of first scene as Lunar kind of prepares for his life. But real quick, I'll just say, if you're someone who likes Skandar, or likes Percy Jackson, or likes Wings of Fire, or likes Into the Spider-Verse, like a little tech in your story, like a little sleekness, just know that this book's a good fit for you. You'll probably like it. It's full of adventure and action and plot twists. So let me go ahead and read the first little bit to you, okay? I'm sorry, my voice is, I've been visiting 40 or 50 schools around the country this past 3 weeks. So my voice is a little rough, but bear with me. Hopefully I'll still do a good job. All right. Prologue. I was born on Mars, a small baby, almost weightless in my mother's arms. On the night of my birth, the great moon dragon, Luna, supposedly flew over our wing of the hospital, visiting our section of the galaxy, all the way from Earth. My mother said she saw the creature's ghost white wings from her window. It was such a beautiful sight that she turned to my father with an idea for my name. Traditionally, you would give it a few days, get to know the baby, let the dust settle, as Martians like to say. But she said my name in that moment, spoke it like a dying wish, and it turned out to be just that. It stuck with me long after she passed away. My name is Lunar Jones. I was born into a world that did not want me. And this is my story. Now, chapter 1, okay? Chapter 1, the Martian Relocation Clinic. There's a storm coming that looks right nasty. It looks like a heavyweight boxer swaggering out from the opposite corner of the world, the kind of storm that whispers, "Stay down," after landing another hook across the world's jaw. I watch the darkening vortex set its eyes on our city, and I know we're in for a treat. Storms that big unearth the best treasures. It's time to get moving. I glide through the other rooms in the house, waking up the early shifters and hushing down the late nighters. There are 12 other boys and girls who call the Martian Relocation Clinic home. It's a garbage name, honestly. None of us have been relocated in years. The adoption list we're on is a long one. And praying for a rich donor to come sweep us away is a waste of breath. Calling it a clinic was a real choice too. That word makes it sound like we've got a nurse on staff who tucks kids in and makes sure everyone's getting the right vitamin injections, but no one like that has stepped through the front door in years. Martian is the only word that fits. We are Mars born, each and every one of us, dusty kids with iron bones and sharp faces, never not been in a fight, never known a world that wasn't trying to grind us under its heel, and so far, the world hasn't been quick enough. We're slick like that. Feet off the table, I grumble, entering the kitchen. Sylvia, get moving. If you're late again, they're going to pack you up and ship you out with the rest of the scrap. Hey, John, are you and that coffee pot dating? No? Okay, well, if you're not going to propose, pass it over here. The rest of the kids shift and shuffle. I watch Sylvia tuck a piece of toast into her zip suit before ducking out the back door. John pours me a cup of coffee, but his eyes are glued to the tablet that's self-scrolling in front of us. Earth's cutting us off again, he mutters. 1 month with no supplies. Guess we won't see any dragon ships in the sky for a while. I take the mug before he spills. Oh yeah? Who needs Earth? Or their dragon ships for that matter. We live like kings and queens out here on Mars. John snorts at that. All the trade and travel between our two planets happens with the help of dragons. We learned about them in science class when we were just 5 years old, how human crews partner up with dragons and they form flight crews. On planet, the crew will ride around on the back of the dragon like something out of an old school fantasy book. But up in space, the dragons can power massive ships that fly faster than any human-made tech that exists. Every math problem in elementary school focused on them. If your dragon ship has room for 30 passengers and 1 trip to Earth takes 2 hours, how many trips would you have to take to escort 150 friends for a birthday party on the moon? As a kid, I remember dreaming about that stuff. How cool it would be to board a dragon ship and go to someone's birthday in some other part of the solar system. But these days, I know better than to dream about dragons or other worlds. The same goes for my crew here at the clinic. I want them focused on what's in front of them. The next shift at work, the next exam in their trade studies, the stuff that actually matters. This means no more chocolate, John says. Never liked this stuff, I reply. Tastes like another world. Chocolate. I'd fight every one of you to try some chocolate. This comes from Muriel, our youngest roommate. Girl as tough as nails. Well, I guess I wouldn't fight Lunar. If I knifed him, we'd have to find a new dad. I almost spit my coffee out. I'm 13, about to be 14. Not that we keep track of birthdays around here. 13, and I'm getting called dad at the breakfast table. It's an insult and a compliment. Muriel grins at me over the rim of her bowl. Whatever, I snipe back. You couldn't take me if you tried. Look at you. Nothing but bones. I'd have you flat backing before you even reach for your belt. John pounds his fist twice on the table in agreement. I reach over his shoulder and I swipe his screen away from the headlines and the news and back to the engineering lesson that he's supposed to be studying. Eyes on the prize, I say to John. When I get back this afternoon, you better be able to walk me through Ohm's laws forward and backward. Otherwise, I'm booting you out of this house for good. He reaches out and taps my coffee mug with his. I take one final sip, ruffle John's hair, and throw a scowl at the rest of them. For crying out loud, someone do the dishes. By the time I reach the back door, Muriel is already at the sink. I take one more look at the dusty group, and then I'm out the door. Sometimes I wish I had more to give them than food. I wish I had words that could actually brighten their mornings, but I was never all that good at lying. Either they keep their feet moving and their stomachs full, or this planet will rust them. Mars is a place for survivors, and that's exactly what I am, a survivor. If you liked that, I hope you'll enjoy maybe reading the rest of The Last Dragon on Mars. That's just the beginning. That's just the start. It only goes up from there in action and excitement. And the cool thing I'll share with you, too, that I don't get to talk about a whole ton is that while this book is really fun and it's coming your way, and you can find it wherever, we also have book 2 on the way and a book 3 on the way. And I'm so excited to share all the fun things of this solar system and all the excitement of dragons in space with you. It's an honor when you jump into my books. It's an honor when you read anything that I've got. So thanks for listening to me in spite of my rough voice. And then thank you so much for giving Last Dragon a chance. I hope you enjoy reading it. Bye.